Hi there, the Spanish Grammar Guy here on Focus 15 to help you with your Spanish grammar. In today's video, we're going to explore how to use pronouns in Spanish. Obviously, pronouns are words that replace nouns to avoid repetition, making conversation smoother and cleaner and more natural. So let's dive into the essentials that you need to know. Let's have a look at the types of pronouns. And much like in English, they're characterized based on their function in a sentence. So here are some key types. We've got subject pronouns. These pronouns replace the noun as the subject of the sentence. So let's have a look at them here. Yo means I. Tú means you when we're speaking in the informal and singular pattern. Then we have él, ella, and usted, which mean he, she, and usted is the you when we're using the formal singular pattern, as opposed to tú, which is the informal. Have a look for a video on the difference between tú and usted as well on this channel. Then we have nosotros or nosotras, which means we, either masculine, nosotros, or feminine, nosotras. Then we have vosotros and vosotras, which is the you as in all of you, the informal you, and the plural, again for masculine, vosotros, and feminine, vosotras. Of course, this is primarily used in Spain. In most of Latin America, they would use ustedes, which we'll get to now. So the next one, ellos, ellas, and ustedes, which means they. For masculine or feminine, ellos and ellas, and ustedes means you, all of you, in the formal sense. But ustedes is used to mean all of you in an informal setting or formal setting in Latin America, where they don't use vosotros or vosotras. So let's have a look at some examples. In Spanish, simply, yo estudio español. For example, I study Spanish. So you have the pronoun yo, and they have the conjugation of the verb for yo of the verb estudiar, which would be estudio. Yo estudio español. Okay, let's move on to direct object pronouns. Now, these pronouns replace nouns that are directly affected by the action of a verb. They receive the action of a verb directly. Let's have a look at these. Me, meaning me. Te, meaning you. Lo or la, meaning him, her, or it, if it's, and again, masculine or feminine. Nos, meaning us. Os, meaning you all, related to vosotros and vosotras. And los and las, meaning them, again, for masculine and feminine. Let's have a look at a very simple example here. For example, you have the question in Spanish, ¿Tienes el libro? And then instead of saying, yes, I have the book, again, you say, yes, I have it. And this is where the pronoun comes in, sí lo tengo. Literally, yes, it, I have. So what you see here is the placement of the pronoun is before the verb in Spanish, whereas it would be mostly after the verb in English. Yes, I have it. Here it's sí lo tengo. Okay, so then let's have a look at indirect object pronouns. And these receive the action of the verb indirectly. For example, they indicate to whom or for whom the action is done. We'll have a look at an example in a minute. And the indirect object pronouns are very similar to the direct object pronouns, except in a couple of cases. So here for the indirect object pronouns, we have me for me, te for you, le for him, her, or you in the formal sense, usted, nos for us, os for you all in the informal plural sense, related to vosotros and vosotras, and les for them or you all in the ustedes sense. So let's have a look at this by way of a simple example. Maria me dio un regalo, meaning Maria gave me a gift. Now, in this sentence, we have the subject, Maria, the verb, dio, to give, and un regalo. In this sentence, un regalo is the direct object of the verb to give. You give a gift directly. But it's the to whom do you give the gift is the indirect object. To me, me. So it's Maria me dio un regalo. Maria gave me a gift. Or literally, Maria gave a gift to me. And we know it's an indirect object because there's usually a preposition in the way. So if we look at that sentence again, we say Maria me dio un regalo. Maria gave a gift to me. So the me is receiving the action of the verb indirectly by way of a preposition, to me. Okay. We also have other forms of pronouns are reflexive pronouns. And of course, they're very important too in reflexive verbs. And it's used when the subject and the object of the verb are the same. So let's have a look at these. We have me, meaning myself, te, meaning yourself, se can mean himself, it can mean herself, it can mean itself, or it can mean yourself in the formal usted sense. So this is where se becomes very confusing sometimes in Spanish. Again, have a look out for a video on the uses of se in the Spanish language because there are many, many of them. Next up we have nos, meaning ourselves, os, meaning yourselves in the informal sense, and se, again, meaning themselves, yourselves in the formal sense. So, of course, these verbs are used reflexively when the action of the verbs acts on the subject of the verb. Let's take a very simple example. For example here, ella se lava las manos. She washes her hands. So the action of the verb to wash is being done on herself, which is why it's reflexive. Ella se lava las manos. She washes her hands herself. And that's the important thing about reflexive verbs, where you have to use the reflexive pronoun to show that something is being done to that person, him or herself. Okay, so the tips for using pronouns are, first of all, placement. Typically, direct and indirect object pronouns come before conjugated verbs. However, when you have an infinitive or a gerund, they can be attached to the end of the verb. And look out for a video on the placement of pronouns in sentences on this channel. Also, agreement, of course, is important. Pronouns must agree in number and gender with the nouns they replace. And with reflexive verbs, always use the appropriate reflexive pronoun for actions done to oneself. Okay, there you have it. This was just a brief overview of the main pronouns in Spanish. Understanding and correctly using pronouns is very important for efficient communication, making your conversations more fluid and more real and natural. Practice these in context to get used to them. Okay, that's it for now. Please subscribe to Focus 15 with the Spanish Grammar Guy if you want more Spanish grammar tips, and see you soon. Thanks for watching.